can just agree to that. Okay, so I am just going to share my screen briefly before I hand over to Anna. And just to give the sort of context to what we're doing here, obviously we're speaking about building digital archives and particularly around the systems of building digital archives. And in this case, Africa Media Online represents a number of systems, but the system that we really are speaking about in this context is AM Quartex. And AM Quartex is focused particularly on heritage collections. So they do a lot of work with university collections, with museums, with archives. So particularly around the presentation of heritage content to an audience. And then we've been running a series of webinars. And those webinars with Quartex have been mostly with Rebecca Lind. But today we have Anna, who is with us from AM Quartex. And really we're speaking about transcription, the benefits of full text search. And she's going to be taking us through transcription in a number of ways, from OCR to HTR and speech to text and so on and so forth. So with that, I think I'm going to hand over to Anna, and Anna can share her screen. And yeah, over to you, Anna.
Thank you, David. Okay, so let me just grab the screen. And it looks like I'm sharing successfully. So thank you for that introduction, David, and hello to everyone. I am Anna. I'm a product specialist for Quartex, so I live and breathe it. And today I'm going to be talking about how to leverage the power of full text search with our 3 different types of transcription. So I've got 3 customer uses to show you today. And as I walk you through how these organizations have used transcription, I'll also show you how it's done. So we'll be looking at Baylor University, who've used extensive handwritten text recognition, or HTR. The North Carolina Department of Natural and Cultural Resources, who I will be referring to as North Carolina, they have used a lot of optical character recognition, or OCR, and they've also uploaded their own transcripts. So I'll show you some differences there. And the Bay Area Television Archive, who use audio-visual transcription. So on to our first, Baylor University. So Baylor University have many collections across multiple libraries. One of those libraries is the Armstrong Browning Library, a library dedicated to the lives and works of the Victorian poets, Robert Browning and Elizabeth Barrett Browning. And it also houses a lot of collections of ancillary Victorian materials. So in 2012, they collaborated with other institutions to launch the Browning Letters Project. That was an effort to digitize and make accessible all correspondence written by and to the Brownings. The efforts of this project are now hosted on Baylor's Quartex site, to which they migrated all digital collections in 2020. So historically, a lot of this material had been transcribed by hand. Obviously, in academic spheres and many spheres, transcriptions are really important because they allow researchers to read through materials quicker and to benefit from full text keyword search, which improves the efficiency of their research. And with handwritten text recognition in particular, it helps you parse out difficult handwriting a lot more. The problem is when you have a scale of collection as big as a lot of the collections that Baylor have, relying on manual transcribers is both costly and it takes a lot of time. So when Baylor migrated their collections in 2020, they were really excited to try HTR. They don't fully publish their collections, especially for the Armstrong Browning Library, until transcriptions are available. So running HTR can vastly speed up the process of getting a collection online and public. This became really important when they migrated in 2020, because obviously that was the year of the pandemic. So with the lockdowns going on, suddenly all learning was moved online and people just couldn't visit in person to access materials. So there was this really strong push to get HDR tested, up and running, and get their collections online, which they did. And they have run HDR across a lot of collections now. And I thought we could have a look at how this translates into search functionality. So I'm just going to open a link into Baylor University's home site, and that is their Quartex site. So if I pop this open. Okay, so this is their homepage for their Quartex digital collection site. Now, firstly, you'll be able to see that researchers can search through multiple points throughout a site. We can keyword search the entire site up here in this persistent search bar that's available on every page. But Baylor also wanted to prominently display a search bar on their homepage. And you'll see as well, as part of this, they both have advanced search links. And if we go through that, it takes us to a classic advanced search form with our Boolean operators. You can choose where you want to search your keywords, if this is within metadata that Baylor set up or anywhere, which includes full text. And they've got some dynamic metadata fields from controlled vocabularies. So if we just search any old word, if we search for Dickens, an excellent Victorian writer, from the persistent search bar up here, we come to the search results. Now we have all of the assets down here. You can filter with this dynamic metadata, but importantly for searching transcripts, you have the option to search both metadata and full text, but you could choose to just search full text. This is really useful if you want to dig deep below that surface layer of metadata and really look inside materials for what you're looking for. And as you can see, Dickens is mentioned in over 3,000 items across all of Baylor University's collections. Now, if we go into an asset that uses keyword searching and using the transcript, so if we search the word Dickens within here, you'll see a few things. So firstly, we've got the yellow hit highlighting on the image itself. That's a really special thing about the HTR services we use. That's not everywhere, but yeah, we have it highlighted in the document, so you can zone in despite interesting handwriting you may see. You see the number of hits up here. Now, this is page 2 of 4, so it skips to the page that the first hit is on, which is, again, very useful. And it's highlighted in the transcript itself. And down here, so this is the full metadata of the asset, but we also have a search results tab that shows our hits down here, and it's got this snippet of the image so that you get this kind of preview of it as well. So there are all these different kinds of areas that are affected by being able to run transcription that really hone in your search results. So another great thing about full text search, we have searched through the whole site itself, but you'll see up here, you can search within the asset that you're in. So I've been looking at this asset and thinking, oh, cool, there's this mention of Dickens. That's really useful. I wonder if James Field mentions any other fields as well. So I'm just going to type in the name field. And we get immediate results here. So page 2 is the first hit, and you can skip between the pages that have the hits on them as well. So we can skip immediately to here, and it's in the transcript. And again, we have our image snippets. So you can see how useful this could be, because you can start to really draw connections and maybe see patterns between assets and even collections, and within one asset that's relevant to whatever subject your field of interest is. So it really opens that up. I thought now maybe I could show you how to run HTR and then how to edit a transcript. So I'm going to go into the digital asset management side of Quartex. So we call that the back end. Now, this is a demo, so this is not one of our live customers. And you can see I've got these assets in here. There are two options for running transcription, and that applies to all types of transcription that we'll cover. So the first is running a batch. If you want to just kick off a process to transcribe hundreds of documents at once, you can do that with these really useful filters here. So if I just want to choose one collection, I can do that. I can see, oh, some of them may already have transcripts. I don't even want to view those. I just want to look at ones that have none. And everything that's left, I can just mix and match what I want. I could select all. If we have tons of pages, you don't even need to click the tick. It will just draw everything from all these pages, as I will demonstrate here. And we click Run HTR. So I've selected 7 images. Now you'll see we have 4 assets here, but the file count, we have this compound asset here. So this letter is multiple pages, and HTR is done by the page or by the image. So if we just pop back into this modal, you then also select a writing style, for which we have guidance here. Now, currently, you can choose between Gothic, Historic, Modern, or Western European. We are actually undergoing a big HTR upgrade. So we're only going to have Historic and Modern, both of which will increase accuracy even more than is current, and they will incorporate these writing styles as well. So Historic is best for early modern, the more ornate, cursive, flowery text. Modern, it does what it says on the tin, modern text. So tightly written, maybe more cramped, kind of thinking official letters or documents. When you've chosen your style, it's as simple as clicking Run. Now, the other option is, of course, to go into a single asset and do it from there. So if we click into an asset with the images on the right and the metadata on the left, and I am going to edit this asset. Now, as you can see, we have a transcript tab here. So you have the option to either upload a plain text transcript, or if you want to run OCR, you can select all or some images. So we have these 2 textual pages, but we've got 2 blank covers. I'm just going to choose to do these 2 pages within this asset. And then we get the same modal pop up. Let's look at one I transcribed earlier. So before I put in my filter, you would have seen, there we go. This one has been HTR'd, and that is clear on the dashboard. So let's pop into here and see what it looks like. Here's the text. As you can see, it is very cursive. It's very beautiful, but quite hard to read by the human eye. And we have the transcript here. Now, the accuracy of HTR can be up to 97%, which is pretty incredible. But like all things, it varies depending on key factors like the quality of the scan, the quality of the original, so smudges, staining on the paper, things like that, and the handwriting itself. So when Baylor ran their tests, they found that Robert Browning's handwriting returned an average of 94% accuracy, which was really great. But as you can see in this asset, there are a couple of typos. So I thought I'd just show you how to edit that as well. While we're here, you can see there's an option to export the transcript if you want to store it locally, but we also have the option to edit. Let's pop in here. So one thing I can spot is this phrase here, Gratian's Loveren. That's definitely gracious sovereign. So it's as simple as typing, saving, and it's done. You can also apply any formatting. So we can put a space where he signs off and things like that, and then we simply save it. Now, one thing that is important to note is there is a trade-off if you're editing or uploading TXT files. Because you are changing the wording, the XML mapping between the word and the image is lost. So while you get highlighting throughout your metadata and the typed transcript, you'll lose it on the image itself. I thought I'd just show you an example of that as well. So if we go into the Browning letters collection specifically and search for the word Elizabeth, so a lot of the Browning manuscripts and letters have had HTR run on them, and then they have been edited further for formatting and more clarity. So if we just pop into here, you will see that we have the search results. So we've got search results in the summary and in the transcript, and also the metadata here, and the image hit here. And you'll notice the only differences are there's no image snippet and there's no highlight on the image itself. It does still skip towards the correct image if it's a multi-page document, which is still reaping almost identical rewards just with this one small loss of highlight. So Baylor have come to this happy medium of running mass HTR, and then with the help of student library assistants, as and when they go and edit transcripts so that there's that extra level of legibility and formatting for researchers. This has saved them time on resourcing, time and resourcing, and they've been able to find that they can get their collections public a lot quicker than they used to. So I think we'll move on to our next customer. So optical character recognition, or OCR, has been used extensively by North Carolina. They utilized this, but they also came with some of their own transcripts for some of their handwritten documents. And when they migrated to Quartex last year, it was important for them that they could use these pre-formatted transcripts as well as running extensive OCR. So if we go back into the demo, I will show you how to upload transcripts if you have them yourself. You'll notice we have this filter, plain text, in the transcripts filter. So you can always tell which transcripts have been run in platform and which you've uploaded yourself. So if we pop into the illustrated catalog page here and we go to edit and the transcript tab, as with HTR, we can simply upload, and that is from a local file. So if I check, yep, this is the same asset name, it's as simple as that. So the upload has started. It just asks you to pause on this page if you're doing a single upload, and then you'll get a green toaster message when it's done. So that's how to do a simple single transcript upload. Obviously, if you have a lot of assets, a lot of multi-page assets, or just a lot of transcripts generally, we have the Quartex uploader. And that is, I would say, the most efficient way to upload transcripts. It's also the way that we, oh, there we go, uploaded. It's also the way that we upload assets usually. Here is my plain text transcript. So you can see I put a lot of formatting in it. So it won't be hit highlighted on the image, but this looks tidy. I've put in some nice spacing and it's really readable. Okay, so batch uploading your own transcripts. We go to upload assets here, and the Quartex uploader is the only piece of local installation for using Quartex at all. It's a very small little piece of functionality that you download, and it is solely used for ingesting. So if I open that and I log in using my credentials that are the same for Quartex, it's a very simple piece of software. So you are choosing what you would like to upload. Now, you see assets, thumbnails, AD. Today we're focusing on transcripts. So I will go into transcripts and I will also go to the dashboard so that we can compare assets. I will want to overwrite existing files. So overwrite can mean replace an existing transcript or file or match it if it doesn't exist already. I'm going to do that. And I'm going to upload this folder that has a batch of transcripts in it. And I'm going to set that to upload. Now, I only have 2 in this for the purposes of demo, and you can see they have successfully uploaded. And those were for filter will. Oh, did anyone else hear that?
Yes, somehow I got kicked off and I'm back in again.
Oh, welcome back.
Thank you.
I hope you didn't miss too much.
No.
Okay, so I just finished demonstrating uploading your own transcripts. And that's what North Carolina did for their handwritten stuff. And then, as a state institution, they have a lot of big state publications that are typewritten. So, for all of those, they ran OCR. And it is the same as HTR. You build your list and then you click through to run OCR. Obviously, we don't have options for types of typeset. It just captures all typesets. And you click that to run. Or as with HTR, you can go into the asset and you can click it from there. So I thought I would now show you on North Carolina's site what it looks like in an asset that has a TXT file versus an asset that has OCR run on it. And you'll see that it's pretty similar to what we've seen with the Browning's materials. So this asset has a TXT file uploaded. And if I search in here the name Venable, we will see that we have 1 hit on page 3, which it skipped us to. No hit highlighting because it's a TXT, but it's all in the transcript. And we've got our results down here, but no image snippet. Versus if we click into the OCR'd asset, and we will be performing the same search term. Oh, that is just having trouble getting my links to load. There we go. So if we pop into this asset and we will search Venable again, and you can see this is typewritten on a classic typewriter. And when we search in here, it has the same hit highlighting. So it looks the exact same as when HTR has been run. And this is an unedited transcript. So the hit highlighting will show up, as you can see here. And it skipped us to page 2. And where are we? There we are in the transcript. So 1 hit in this transcript. And here's the image down here. Now, the North Carolina Department of Natural and Cultural Resources have over 160,000 assets currently, but that's always growing. And you can tell how big some of these documents are because they have run OCR across over 4 million pages. And that kind of highlights how important full text search is for these kinds of documents because they're clearly very bulky and very dense, but also very important for the purposes of research. So OCR is making their collections much easier to search for their users. And they are continuing to run OCR at scale as they upload their collections. Okay, I'm going to move on to our final customer, the Bay Area TV Archive. They're an interesting customer. So they're an archive based in the library of San Francisco State University. They preserve, digitize, and make public broadcasts from the 20th century from the local area. And that includes content that was filmed, but its entirety wouldn't have been shown. So maybe just a snippet of a broadcast of an anchor filming live at a news location, but they have the full footage. So there's a lot of never before seen stuff. So it's really fascinating. And understandably, this is mostly audio and visual based. So they've extensively used AVT across their materials and really opened up these materials to be discovered. And yeah, they just provide much greater research opportunities. So I'm just going to pop back into the demo. Our favorite place to be. If I just pop here and just again show you briefly, AV, it's as simple as running the other types. Again, we can run by batch. So I do have some videos here. You can sort by file type, which is extremely handy if you're looking for the correct file type to run transcription across. Now, it will naturally skip illegible file formats, but it can just be good to sort for your own just readability of what's on the screen. So we've got 2 videos here. Now I could select all to run AV, but I know this one has a transcript, so I could just select one. And again, we have the modal pop up here. Now, while OCR and HTR run on a basis of a credit per page, AVT is per minute. So it's the same kind of chunking, but obviously in a different format. And the same as everything else, if you go into the asset, you can edit it and then run transcription from there. Now, I'd like to show you some of the key differences in AVT compared to OCR and HTR. So we will do that with a Bay Area item. Quite a fun video, maybe because I like eating. It's fun to eat with Elena. So we can see how the transcript differs here. You will notice immediately that it's time-stamped down to the millisecond and chunked. And we also have this auto scroll feature. So I'm going to just play this. And what you'll notice, oh, if it plays, I'm asking a lot of it was streaming. There we go. So the relevant speech is highlighted in gray. And with auto scroll, as the video goes on, the transcript will scroll with you, which is really useful if you need that side by side while you're watching. So here we go, they're in the kitchen. And as the speech goes on, it will scroll with us as the transcript. And another handy feature of this is if you click anywhere, there we go, it's scrolling. If you click anywhere in the video, the transcript will auto scroll to catch up. And you can also, likewise, you can choose a timestamp in the transcript. There we go. And the video will match your timestamp. So hit highlighting obviously works a little differently. We're not going to get yellow boxes on their mouths because their speech isn't visible like that. We will get it everywhere else on the page. So you'll see it's hitting the transcript if I search recipe here. And again, we have our search results down here. Now, one more key difference with an AV transcript is the ability to have closed captions. So that option is here, and we can pop on our captions. We can see nice and clear, black background, white text. This is possible because the timestamps act as temporal coordinates. So it knows exactly which frame, which time to get the text on. You can also customize the settings of your captions. You can change the font size, the different colors, even the font family, so that no matter your reading style, it can be legible to you. So again, it opens up to all kinds of researchers and users, depending on their visual needs. So I'm going to go into the back end again, and we are going to look at editing and replacing transcripts of AVT, because again, it's different to OCR and HTR because of the timestamping. So if we pop in and go to edit, again, we have the option to export for local safekeeping, edit, and replace. Now, if you want to replace an AV transcript, you have more options here. So you could use the web, VTT, or SRT file types, and your replaced transcripts will have full AVT functionality with the timestamps and the auto scroll and the closed captions. You can replace it with a plain text file. It would then show up exactly the way that OCR and HTR transcripts do. So it won't have the timestamping or that functionality, but you'll still have a legible transcript. Now you'll see here, we immediately find differences when we edit. So we have the find function if a transcript is really long, because visually they do run longer because of all these timestamps in it. So it helps you to search for any terms you're looking for if there was some sort of typo. We also have the option to skim read, which is really handy for what I call visual clutter. So if we choose to skim read, all of these dark grey timestamps will be hidden, and you can just read the larger chunks. So these singular lines are what show up as the closed captions, but you can see it as the paragraph. So this full paragraph here. And if we go into edit, you also have the skim read option. If you choose it, it doesn't matter because you have the start and end times down to the exact milliseconds down here to edit as well. So you just choose on whichever line you want to edit, and you can change the text content and the times. So it's really useful. There's that duality in editing. So you can change the wording. So if on the front end you think, actually, there's an extra word that should be here and it shouldn't be on the next line, you can just swap that over. You can slightly change the times. There is a lot that you can edit and keep the same full functionality. So when you save this, everything updates because you still have those temporal time codes. So you still keep the auto scroll, you still keep the timestamping. It's exactly as it should be. So if I just pop back to my slide. So for Bay Area TV Archive, running AVT across their materials has enabled researchers a level of access to this primary source material that just hasn't been possible before. So when interviews or videos are loaded with these keywords and phrases, they just simply couldn't be found before unless it was explicitly in the metadata. But now you don't need to do that. You just search and the transcript will throw up all of these extra results for you. And it saves you watching through hours and hours of footage if you're searching for one detail. Now that it's all just just a search term away, it just really improves the efficiency of what researchers can do. So the three sites that I have shown you are all open access. So you can take what I've shown you today and run your own searches, looking for your own subjects to really experience the kinds of results that full text search can offer. Our transcription services are all about widening access to primary source material. So we've seen the increased discoverability of information in assets. We've seen the time and resource that can be saved by organizations that use transcription. But there are other opportunities like discovering otherwise lost voices or using keyword searches to identify new subjects in an asset that you could then draw into the metadata. So you have that extra layer of searchability. You can pass out information from difficult handwriting, and you can start using your own kind of pattern recognition between assets and collections to find these links and these relationships. There are just so many opportunities there, not just for the people using the resources, but for the organizations collating them. That was everything I had to show you today. Thank you so much for your time, and I'm open for any questions.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Anna. And I just, yeah, let's open it up for questions. Any questions that you might have about this? Um,
Um, I have a question, if possible, please.
Go for it,
And
Jennifer.
how does OCR or HTR handle crosshatch writing, where they've written both normally and then turned the page and written over what they've written?
I would say it honestly depends on the quality of the original. I have seen cases where it can translate that and cases where it can't. So it honestly can come down even to the ink used. If it's quite messy looking, it's going to struggle. It's something I would always advise to run tests on before choosing to run extensively, which is what Baylor did. They ran a lot of tests over different hands and different characters. But it's an interesting question. Yeah, so as far as I'm aware of, depends on the quality.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Any other questions that you may have? Anyone? While you're thinking, I have a question. So how do the costs work here? Um, and maybe I can answer that question well. So I guess so generally with the Quartex platform, OCR is included. So when you're loading content to a Quartex site, um, the OCR is going to happen pretty much automatically, and it's part of your cost. So that's generally the approach. HTR and AVT, however, are costed per page, and well, per page for HTR and per minute for AVT. And in the contract that you would receive when we're contracting to set up your system, those costs will be available to you. And then you're only charged when you actually run that. So for instance, you've loaded a whole bunch of videos and you actually do AVT on one or two of them, that month you will be charged for that. So that's how it works. Did I answer
Yeah, so
correctly, Anna?
sorry, yeah, so because it's a credit system, there's no kind of monthly cost. You just
Bye.
have a set of credits that you use, and yeah, it's per page or per minute. I will just clarify, OCR does not pretty much run automatically. You do need to set it to run
You do.
yourself
Okay. Sorry.
using the methods I showed. So
Yeah.
we've taught everyone how to do it as well.
Yeah. Great. Any other questions? I mean, I think it's, I mean, just from when we started doing digital archiving and the fact that you were having to type in, I mean, I remember us doing a digitization project for KZN archives, and they were these old birth and death registers, and we had a whole team manually transcribing the birth and death registers, and it took absolutely forever.
Mm.
And you think of what an enormous head start this technology can give one. Now, obviously, one, I mean, those birth and death registered had all sorts of, you know, funny writing in the margins and so on and so forth. So you're likely to still have to do some cleanup, but what a head start it gives you. It really is very significant in terms of findability across. I mean, these AI technologies are just getting better and better in that regard. Any
Yeah,
other
that's
questions? Go for it, Anna.
sorry, I was just going to say that's really what Baylor found because these manuscripts and letters, A, there were thousands of them from and with and to the Brownings. And B, the handwriting was so beautiful but so cursive that human eyes struggled a lot more than HTR. And then it was just so much easier and quicker to be able to extensively run it across everything and then just make these small edits afterwards. It just moved the process from getting a collection ready from years to maybe months at a maximum.
Yeah, yeah, it is amazing. Jennifer, what would be the application of this in your case?
Um, Probably some of the very faded manuscript letters would probably be those that we would want to, if we were doing it, would go for, those
Mm.
letters that are starting to fade because the iron gall's starting to cause damage and things like that would
Yes,
be more what we would go for. And then maybe to try and understand the crosshatch writing letters and ship's logs.
yes, great. Um, so any other questions? So I can see someone who's my phasm, but I can't see your full name. Any questions from you? If you unmute, you could be asking.
I've actually got some advice for Jennifer on getting the best out of your manuscripts. If you do choose to run OCR or HTR on any of them, no matter who you went with, Baylor gave some really good advice when we were talking to them about the process of getting the best accuracy possible. So Daryl from Baylor recommends running an unsharp mask process when generating the access images, just so that the text itself is as sharp as possible. He also avoided downsampling, so don't reduce the PPI because you want it to be, have as many pixels as possible. And to always use the most modern scan of the original item as possible because the more recent the digitization equipment, the better quality of scan. And they noticed a massive difference between new scans and older microfilms or photocopies.
Thank you for that.
Now that
No
is
worries.
where something like using sort of phase one equipment, which is just so pin sharp, is very, very important in terms of digitized manuscripts. Yeah. Great. Good. Well, thank you. If there are no more questions, thank you, Anna, for a really very interesting and well expressed demonstration of these three technologies. And we will have the video available for you to be able to view again or show colleagues if you need to. And yeah, thank you for attending. We really appreciate that. And hopefully we can interact further around this. So particularly if you're interested in us setting up a system for you, we can interact with you in that regard. Thank you for your time and have a great weekend.
Thank
Thanks,
you. You
David.
too.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.